sound of redemption. This is the way that we bring it down. Down, down, down. Down, down, down. Down, down, down. These are the things that will bring it down. Down, down, down. Down, down, down. I want to stand and shout loud. Shout loud. Shout loud. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it down, down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it down, down.
Let me tell you, it's in the air. Joy is in the air. Love is in the air. Can you feel it? What it feel like? Freedom. What it feel like? Don't sleep on it, brother. You might get left, sister. Can you feel it? Freedom. What it feel like? Justice. No need to be counted, cause I am down. Down, down, down. Down, down, down. Down for the end of racism, for the end of bigotry, cause I am down. For the end of misogyny, that runs out there just down, down, down. Let's bring it down. Rise up, people. No more foolishness, and let's bring it way down.
Riding the river of change into the cries of contrition. Bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. We are the children of Eden, dancing and celebrating freedom. We are the ones that must bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. So tell everyone to stand and shout loud. Shout loud. Shout loud. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. We've got to bring it down. Down. Stand up and shout. Stand up and shout. Rise and
Dawson Radio Show.
Yeah. Rise up. Stand up, shout it loud.
If you are not prepared to come to that table and to represent that voice, don't come. Because we don't need any more brown faces that don't want to be a brown voice. We don't need black faces that don't want to be a black voice. We don't need Muslims that don't want to be a Muslim voice. We don't need queers that don't want to be a queer voice. And if you're worried about being marginalized and stereotyped, please don't even show up.
Are you kicking me out because I'm gay?
Yes. Get out.
You're kicking me out because I'm gay.
Get out.
You're kicking me out of your car
Get out.
because because I'm gay?
Get out.
You're kicking me out because I'm gay?
Get out.
Don't touch me.
Get out.
You fucking asshole.
Get out.
What is wrong with you? What is wrong? gay?
We're coming on next, I guess.
Wow.
Good morning.
Good morning, Kevin. How
Good morning,
are you?
Informed Class. Welcome to the Eric Dawson Show.
Well, that was a Uber ride. Mm-hmm. Wow. So in an Uber car, the person who drives the car or the person that's riding in the car because you paid for the ride. So can you just like do anything that you want in the back? You're not sure?
I don't know, but I believe it's the owner of the car has more rights than the driver. I think the driver has to have insurance and have all this other stuff. So I don't.
Like for instance, I know there is a fee. I saw if you throw up in a car, a cleanup fee, like $100 fee that they charge if you puke in the back seat of their car or something like that, or whatever you may do that's out of normal, decency.
I mean, but I don't think you get the right to kick somebody out of your car because they're gay. I think she needs to be reported. I think she needs to report it, and she needs.
That's not the profession that she needs to indulge in, because if you think your person, well, then again, go back. Because so remember, I can't remember what state it was, but there was a state where there was a bakery, and the couple wanted to get a wedding cake made. They used to do it, and the couple sued them, and the baker won. The baker won. They went to court, and the baker won, and they said that the baker has a right to decline business. You cannot force them to do business with whomever based on what.
If you open for business,
so this is the same thing with Uber. That's her business.
No, it's not.
That is her business. She's a
she
contract employee.
Then she has to put a disclaimer.
You ain't got to
on
put a
your
disclaimer at your business. At my business, I can choose not to do business with people that I want to, not necessarily based on race, color, or anything like that. You got a nasty attitude, I don't have to do business with you, or I can do business with you and upcharge you.
Yeah.
So. It's a price of doing business.
Right.
I mean, think about it.
I don't know. I just think that's a really slippery slope. But today is the 18th year, the 18th anniversary. I hate to use that word.
No,
it's
a day of I don't know.
A remembrance for the victims of 911. And
why do you say 911 starts September 11th? 911 is the emergency call.
You know what though? Can I be honest with you? If I say 911, September the 11th, it's all a horror story.
Yeah.
But one of the things you asked me a question, about it.
Really?
Yeah, my mother was in both
doing?
bombings.
Was she working in the building?
Yeah, she worked on Wall Street for some time, but her offices were ended up being in Brooklyn because we were all in that. This is really interesting. Mm-hmm. When it happened, I was coming out of the shower, and Gail told me, like, listen, this just happened, and I looked at it. I said, wow, that's terrorism. You
knew immediately?
Immediately. Like, fully grasp it until I realized my mother was in the building.
Wow.
I was like, wait a minute, my mother's in the building. Freaked out, like, oh. And then it took us basically all day to find her. But Gwen, because they were telling people actually not to leave the building.
I know, I was there.
And Gwen left the building because she doesn't follow directions. Thank God she didn't.
Pretty much, me too.
But, it's really, it's sad for everyone because it has impacted everything in our lives, even up to this day.
Right.
And all of those families have to live with that horror every day, reflect on that, because it's just important that we reflect on these things.
Absolutely.
It keeps things in perspective for us, I believe.
And for myself, it's a day of being thankful, because I didn't have to be spared.
That's right.
I could not, half of my department was lost.
Wow.
I was on the 92nd floor, and half of my department did not make it out the building.
Jeez.
And my entire management team did not make it out. One manager was interviewing somebody, went all the way down to the first floor, and came back. I talked to people, when you talked about when they told people not to leave out the building.
Yeah.
Literally, they were telling us, don't leave, stay calm. There were people when we were leaving, coming down the stairs, that left out the stairwell to go back. And I distinctly remember this white guy that was like, no, everything's fine, I'm going back. They said it's okay. And he went back. But we kept going downstairs.
Yeah.
So it's a lot.
A horrible day in history. And, we should never forget. We should always stay, diligent and never forgetting those people that basically they all sacrificed their lives for us. Even the ones that were in the building that didn't really understand what was going on, there was some sacrifice. And
right.
Our prayers go out to their family. today. They're
To the
you know,
first responders,
yeah.
everybody.
I don't do well in that area talking about that stuff because it's so horrifyingly painful for
Really?
people that live it every day. I mean, you live trauma.
PTSD for real.
Yeah, you know.
Literally for like a week I didn't sleep.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, literally.
And you know, my mom never went back
no
to work
sleep. I
in
didn't
New York
either.
at all.
I didn't
she was
either.
done after that. That was twice. She was
So
Kevin.
she was
That's
there
twice a year.
for the first one was like in
Like in the early 80s, yeah.
in the early 80s.
So
yeah.
it affected her, you know,
Oh,
tremendously.
absolutely. My daughter was little. It was a lot. When I went back in January. They had moved us to temporary locations outside of Grand Central Station. We were just on like the 9th and the 10th floor. I went to work 1 week. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Just taking the train, the noise, not knowing how to, exits, and just going in the grocery store was a lot for me.
Yeah, and you know, the little kids that were young back then, and
They're
like
all adults
18
now.
and 20 years old. and
They're
it's-
all in their 20s now.
Yeah.
'Cause my daughter was, she was she said to be 7 or 8 at the time. So it was a lot of little kids that are now adults now when it happened.
Yeah, the first one was in
parents
19.
were-
Yeah, but we have to, mention that and talk about it. It's just, I don't know. This morning I was watching it a little bit of. It was
Oh, I
tough
didn't
to
even-
watch.
I didn't even turn the TV.
Yeah, it
on.
was tough to watch.
I didn't. It was funny because I was in the car. I called my girlfriend, and she was half asleep. And I said, "Girl, why you still asleep? Wake up! It's 9:11 a.m. on 9/11." And then it hit me.
Oh, wow.
I was like,
Oh, wow.
I didn't even, But after that, I'm just like, I don't want to be depressed. I don't want to be sad. I don't want to be bawling, crying, makeup running, all of that. But anyway, so I was reading this article, Kevin, and they talked about morning routines. You have a morning routine?
Yeah, I get up. Yeah, I get up.
What
That's
else
my
do you-
morning routine.
I mean, wait, what is it?
I get up. I get up.
Is it
That's
the
my
same
morning
time
routine. I
every
get up.
morning? Do you lay it in the bed, or you just pop up out the bed?
Sometimes it depends. I mean, I get up, I say a little quiet prayer, thanking God that I have
Do
another.
you morning say a prayer before
Well,
you get
I
out the
try my
bed?
best. I am the most. As predictable as I am, I'm very unpredictable. So in the morning, sometimes I get up and I reflect for
Mm-hmm.
a couple of minutes, and I thank God for waking me up, clothing my right mind.
Mm-hmm.
Right? For us is we grab our phones. You grab your phone.
So how close is your phone to your bed?
Well, sometimes it depends on if I'm talking on it late, it'll be close to the bed. Then sometimes if I'm not talking on it, it'll be on the other side.
So how close is close? Because sometimes I go to bed, pillow is here, and my phone is like
I
under
ta-
the pillow right by the edge, so I can roll over and catch it.
I don't keep the phone in the bed. I keep the
Okay.
phone in the chair.
Oh, in a chair?
Yeah.
So the chair you have to literally get up to, or you have to reach
No,
out
I can
to
reach
touch?
over to touch
Okay.
it. So I can
Alright,
touch
yeah.
the chair. But it depends. I mean, some in California or something like that. I'm like, I'm MNFing it.
You know what?
My kid
You are
should call-
terrible. You are
I'm MNFing.
terrible.
You know what I mean? I'm like, what the hell? And then if it's one of my grandkids, like, Grandpa, we want to go to the movie. I don't know. I don't have a real routine outside of getting up and.
Well, they said it's good for your brain to have a routine. Your brain likes the flexibility, but it also likes the structure of having a routine in the morning.
I used to get up and read. I used to get up and read all of these papers in the morning. I stopped doing it.
Right.
Because it's just too much.
It makes your brain. It makes you move fast.
Yeah, it's
Keeps
too
you going
much. It's
too
too
much.
much. So so I do get up and I do try to do certain things to keep a good mental state. But once you open up that front door in chaos, it's hard to be normal.
And that chaos where?
in this chaos out
Where's
here
that?
in the real world out there.
What town is that?
Essex County.
Oh,
I live in
where's Essex
Society Hill. I'm never telling anybody I live in a town with dirty water. I ain't doing it. I'm just not doing it, guys. But no, it's interesting. That's a very good question about routine. So I'm quite sure a lot of people. But I used to
my
read a lot of
routine is-
papers, and I don't do it anymore.
My routine is I wake up, one eye open. I try to see what time it is. I lay there. Then I get on my phone. I say, I'm not getting up for a half an hour. Then I get up. Then I just pop up out the bed. Then I take my phone with me to the bathroom,
Jesus,
just in
Lord.
case.
Phone in the bathroom.
Then I sit on the toilet and look at
That's too much information.
and text.
I don't want to hear about
and
your
text-
toilet
and
experience.
text my daughter
And
good
text
morning and
my-
stuff
your
like
morning
that.
experience. My God, your
And
morning
then I put it
experience,
on the kitchen, on the bathroom sink. Then I
Diane.
get in the shower. Then I
Diane.
pick up, then I wipe off the shower to look out to see, because I hear a ding on my phone. Then I look out to see.
I don't take the phone. I don't take the phone in.
Off. So when you call me at certain times,
Oh, yeah,
my
right.
phone will not ring. Text messages will not come through unless I put you on my list. So my phone shuts down at 9 p.m. and does not come back on until 9 a.m. And I do that purposely because otherwise people are trying to get me and I'm doing work and doing other stuff throughout the night, and I don't have a time to unwind. So
See,
it
but
becomes
my
too much.
sleep, like I'll be up all night. I will not go to sleep. Like, if I start reading and writing and talking, I'll be up all night. Then I'll go to sleep for 1 hour, and I'm like, okay, let's get ready for the show. Now, last night, I had me and my new drinking buddy. You
got a new drinking buddy?
I got a new drinking buddy.
Oh,
I ain't saying his name, but I had a ball with him yesterday. So we had a meeting, and then we started the old man afternoon cocktail sipping.
Oh, okay, so what do y'all talk about during this old man cocktail?
Well, it's always about an hour and a half. Business is an hour and a half, and then after that, you order a scotch, and then you start talking about something else, and then you might order a beer, and then you start talking about something else.
So I was reading
and it goes on, and then you end up being in like 4 hours, like literally.
About preparing for the week, and that you should do a to-do list on Friday at the end of your work day to prepare you for the next week, and then this way, and then on Monday you start your to-do list of what you need to do for the week, because it keeps you more organized. Do you have a to-do list that you write down, or do you just kind of keep it in your head?
I keep it in my head. And if I really put reminders, I don't use my phone as much as I should. It's a powerful tool. I should be using it for everything. I got all the bells and whistles, but I just don't. I mean, I just think that, I'm an old fashioned. It's just
I know you were talking about the automatic spell check that was driving.
Oh, it was driving me crazy. I can't
Did
even
you take it off?
I can't. Yeah, I took it off, but I can't even. When I'm writing, I'm like doing it, and then I go back and then I'll send it off to Jody to edit it or something, or send because when you're writing, you can't.
Yeah,
keep
you
stopping.
just keep going. Yeah, gotcha.
And one day she jumped on me. She said, "Did I not tell you that comma doesn't belong there?" I said, "Jody, God damn." I said, "Jody, I mean, that's why I'm asking you to edit it." But I think she just got annoyed. She's like, "I'm tired of telling you this."
That's funny.
And I don't know why I keep playing. Isn't that though? I try to keep a balanced life. I try to keep good relationships. I try to communicate as well as I can. I have no tolerance.
So I read another article
I'm going
that
to be
talked
a
about
lonely
friendships.
old guy. I'm going to be a lonely old guy.
So there was another article that I read also with the other three, and it talked about friendships. Do you have friendships? Because I know you're older than me. So do you have friendships that you put them in groups, like some friends that you interact with on a daily basis, some friends that you just do certain things with or communicate with at certain times?
No, I don't put my friends in category, but I obviously have my favorite friends,
Right.
Favorite people, but I don't put them in.
That you can talk to about anything and everything, and they'll hold your secrets and stuff for you. Or they'll be honest with
Basically,
you.
all of my friends though, if I call you my friend, I mean, because I don't give that to anybody.
Right. I meet people and say, "Oh, that's my friend. That's my friend," and she'll be like, "Yeah, I know that person."
No.
You can't call that person your friend, or see what she did. And then I recognize in the Bible it always says you have to test people, so you test them to see exactly who they are, who they prove themselves to be, before you actually lend and open your heart.
But see, my problem is I don't open up my heart to anyone.
What leans on your personal information and your home, because I've learned that too.
Oh, yeah,
you can't invite everybody to your home.
Well, you shouldn't.
I was one of those people. I didn't realize that.
Bad energy.
I didn't.
Oh, you know what I mean? That's crazy, though, right?
Right.
But no, I got to tell you, I mean, the closest person to me, obviously, is Gail. I mean, she knows everything about me.
Right.
And then I have friends that I talk to. I'm open to talking about things, but the number one rule of a friend: if you give my trade secrets away, I'll banish you. I will banish you.
Cut you by the knees.
What? I will banish you. I mean, I will walk past you, connect you to anything that woman said. That was done before, she was born. And
So I have a question, because I just noticed,
and
Kevin, you have a hole in your ear. Did you have an earring before in your ear? I'll take that as a yes. Is it on both sides?
No, I never had two earrings in my ear. Let me tell you. You want to know the true story about this earring?
Yes.
Okay. This is gonna make you laugh. All right, here. You ready? Okay. When I was 16 years old, all of us were talking about getting earrings in the ear. I convinced all my friends we're gonna go get earrings in our ear. Grown like that. So anyway, we all go to get the earrings. So now I'm convincing them. Come on, man, we can go do this. This is cool. We're gonna get it done. Never realizing that when I got home that I was going to get beat the hell out of. So my father, oh man, this is classic. Like this, he said, "Well, what is that in your ear?" Oh, I said, "I got an ear." I'm talking like like I got all this bravado. Well, I can't tell you what happened afterwards because it was a horrible experience, right?
What happened?
That man jumped on me and tried to kill me. told me, I own your body. You don't,
own your body.
You don't do all my me boy with guns ablazing. You hear me? Guns ablazing. So after that, everybody came back to sleep. So I get to the cafeteria. They say, "Kev, where your earring?" Oh man, I couldn't find it. I can't find it. My father beat it out of me. And so, do you know this hole never closed? That's the difference between going to Short Hills and going on Broad Street. I had a real hole. It was like, you know, so he wore the earrings all that year, and I never put the earring back in. I mean,
You ain't even sneak to put it in at school.
What? You didn't know my father. No.
Wait a minute, you went to Catholic school. They allowed y'all to have earrings in your ear. Catholic
We were
school?
at the point that we knew the system. They wasn't going to do too much
okay.
to us. We were part of that.
Okay.
We grew up in that system. Everybody knew that Kevin.
So y'all were the favorites, so they kind of let
Yeah,
y'all
we wasn't really causing any trouble. But
Oh, man.
to tell you the truth, it was a bad experience for me. He jumped on me, boy, and knocked me down.
Did your sister try and save you?
What? They go in their rooms. Nobody got in the middle of that. Are you kidding?
They slammed their doors and they hid.
Every time I got a knocked down, beat up, they just disappeared. Everybody gets quiet when it was time for mine.
Who got the most beatings? You, your brother, or your sister?
Well, my sister never got touched. My brother and I probably equally. Well,
Your mother never. Your
My mother was always
Your
after
mother
me.
never jacked up your sister.
yeah, with a frying pan.
Some cast iron fire.
My sister-
You better run.
My sister's tough with a frying pan. It came out of the water with like a
Out of
jar.
the dishwasher, out of the sink.
Well, when she hit over the head, my father was like, "Oh my God, don't touch me! I'll do it ever again." We were like that. But you know women are women. Women are women. So as a matter of fact, you know what? Though, I've been trying to close this thing. You're one of the few people that ever picked up on it.
Oh man.
I guess you're sitting here looking at that ear all the time. So yeah, so I couldn't get that earring in the kitchen too. So in the kitchen there was not a lot of. No, it was a pretty big, but you couldn't move. And he just started choking me like, what? I think he thought that I was being defiant.
Did you play dead?
No, I just
Did you fight back?
What? No, I never fought anything back with him. My father was the kind of guy you put the keys in the I would hear his keys in the door.
Oh, yeah.
Everything would get quiet. Mm-hmm. And he didn't.
He was the disciplinary of the house.
I didn't. She never, not one time.
Really?
Not one.
Now I was the favorite.
Not one.
My father thought I was the princess, but I sure did get plenty of spankings.
Not one. No, she would. Anyway, but that's so. I mean, that's growing up. I had those kinds of great experiences. I grew up in a nice neighborhood of people. That I just. Every day was like a good day.
You were always defiant, weren't you? Testing the system.
Kind of kid that did this. Mm-hmm. Once I figured you out, I had you. Mm-hmm. That was it. I'm done.
Okay.
Once I was always ready to go into the next thing. Mm-hmm. I used to get bored really fast.
That's funny. So, Kevin Hart is recovering from a car accident.
Car accident that he had the train on his lap and then he flipped over.
You heard that too, but I wasn't going to say that.
Yeah.
So we ain't even going.
Diane, I loved it.
Because I told you initially, I said, "Oh, so he out with the trainer who trains his wife at 12:30 a.m." But there's some other things because they say that they're in this kind of swinging relationship, but we don't.
Oh, please, swinging relationship.
But anyway,
that's all bull crap.
Is anything wrong with a swinging relationship?
Oh, please. Just why you got to swing? If you all this swinging, it's all
Isn't
crazy.
that what it is?
These guys go down to Hollywood and lose
art show. Cool. Let's
Kevin
go.
Hart.
So down at what is it? The PNC down in Homedale. It was a night show, and that particular night, the day before or earlier that day, it had rained, so it was really nasty out there. It was stuff out there in the grass and stuff. So we had lawn seats. So we went at night. We get down there. Now, apparently, and this is my first time, they had...
Miss Lathan said, you guys know that story ain't sitting right with Kevin Hart.
So...
I like that. Boom, 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 boom. Bam. Go ahead.
So we go to this Kevin Hart show, and apparently this is my insert where they ban your cell phone use. And they tell you can't use your cell phones. If they see your cell phones, they're going to take their cell phones away from you. First of all, I think it's a stupid thing. All of this, no cell phones allowed during the concert. My girlfriend and I got separated because I went to go stand in line to get food. She went on the line to go get the wine. So for us to find each other and find out where in the ground we were going to sit, we had to use our cell phones.
Oh.
would happen to be a couple of seats, because everybody was sitting on the ground, a couple of seats away from another friend of hers that we didn't even know were there. And what happened was she pulled out her cell phone to call and tell me exactly, kind of tell me where she was at, because there's no markers in the yard. Somebody comes up and throws out the girl in front of her, who happens to be a friend of hers, for using her cell phone. And as she's walking past her, my girlfriend's on the cell phone telling me where she's located at, scoop her up too, and say, you gotta go.
Damn, did they give you a reimbursement?
No.
They just kicked you out?
You out. No, I didn't get kicked out because I was on the food line. She got kicked out.
So did you
and
end
the
up
other girl
leaving the
got
show?
kicked out. So what happens was, so she's telling me, and now I'm talking to security like, what do you do with people that get kicked out? So they're like, oh, they're back around this way and over there. So I'm thinking, okay, they put them in a circle. No, they kicked them out and put their butts in the parking lot.
Wow.
So I still got the food in my hand.
They would have given me my money back.
So apparently for his situation, the reasoning, and I don't know, I know my daughter's told me in his other concert, they've done it too. No cell phone use, because he was filming, and part of that filming was going towards his Netflix show. So that's why he didn't want any of it released prior to that. Whatever.
Oh, please, come on.
So apparently,
Celebrity stuff is driving
Madonna
me crazy.
is
You know,
now
this is the only
doing-
time I get a chance to talk about it when I'm with you. So
Oh,
go ahead.
God.
Let's go through your pop culture list here.
So Madonna apparently, well, her old ass
She's about 90.
is doing it too. So I
Now
don't
here's
know
the
if
person that
she's
had a facelift on the butt, in the back, and she got a facelift on everything, even her fingers.
now doing the same thing. So she's having a concert that's coming up, and at her concert, she's already instructed people in San Francisco. Apparently, it's not that many people, but it's enough people. So Kevin Hart's people were actually in the, not necessarily the venue.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Oh,
so his own people
okay.
were going in saying, you got to go. So she's going to be performing at the Golden Gate Theater October the 31st through November the 4th, various different dates.
You know,
And
Madonna used to hang out on the Lower East Side, right? She lived
Madonna
down-
used to date Tupac. Well, no, she used to have sex with Tupac.
That whole
You know who
experience.
Tupac is, right?
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Yeah, I know who he is. But Madonna used to live in the
Who
Lower
is
East
he?
Side. He was a rapper.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah,
so she lives on the Lower East Side?
Yeah, she used to live in the Lower East Side. Actually, she used to have for some time. We used to see her down there all the time because she used to play at all the little small clubs. Mm-hmm. And we used to see her all the time.
I loved Madonna.
Yeah.
Like
The
a
younger- like
virgin.
the-
Sing a
not
song for me.
singing anything.
One verse.
No.
Like a virgin.
Crazy, Doc. Go ahead,
Touched
Doc.
for the very first
Get off me,
time.
Doc. Go ahead and do the thing.
Like a virgin.
Oh, yeah. Those were the days.
So, Antonio Brown from the New England Patriots.
Yeah,
Are you familiar
what about
with
him?
him? So he's a football
The
player.
guy that was with the Patriots, the guy that was with Oakland, the guy that
Right,
was
he
with
got kicked off.
Pittsburgh,
He got
the
kicked
guy
off
that
of
lost
Oakland, but
30
he's
million,
suing. But he's suing them, and it's a whole big thing.
I'm about sick of him.
And he's had some controversy
Yeah.
with, who was the first one you said before the New
Well, he's
England
with the
Patriots?
Pittsburgh Steelers.
Pittsburgh Steelers. He's had some controversy with the general manager, and of course Antonio Brown, immature as he may be.
No, not
No, no.
mentally ill.
Pressed like is, because sometimes I like stuff and it may be one
You
sentence
have
but I
to
like
do a
it,
show on what's
something.
appropriate to say like to. There's a whole science
I
to
don't
it
know.
now.
Apparently it has to
I
be.
understand you could buy likes now.
You can.
You could buy likes.
You can. So the New England Patriots wide receiver Antonio Brown has been accused now of sexual assault, including forcible rape of his former trainer in a federal lawsuit in Florida. So apparently his trainer, who is Brittany Taylor, who is used to attend Central Michigan University with him, so they knew each other. He asked her to train her, and she's also a professional gymnast. So he asked her to train her to train him. And then there were 3 occasions that she claims the time she was watching a religious video on her tablet,
Really?
and he was masturbating, standing behind
Really?
her, and jacked off on her.
Really?
And then, don't be condescending.
I'm just listening. Go ahead.
Listening with your ears and
listening.
not with
I'm
your
listening.
mouth.
I'm listening. It sounds like somebody's trying to get paid. So go ahead.
And then the second time, there was an incident where he flew her in and didn't book her a hotel, so she ended up staying at his place. And she said when she came out of the shower, out of the bathroom, he came into the bathroom and he was naked, and she left out covering her eyes because she didn't want to see. And then there was a third occasion when he forcibly raped her. So she says.
So let me go. So
three occasions.
I'm gonna get this straight. Now I want to get this straight. Okay. I want to get this straight. Let's get this straight. 3 occasions, right? He had done something. She knew him in college.
Yeah,
right?
so they were familiar with each other.
So 3 times.
So here's the rest of the story. So on his side, states that there was an occasion that she called and requested money for an investment into some type of. He then continued to text her and to apologize to her about whatever he did to her being inappropriate for ejaculating on her, and then he basically told her to man up. You a weak B. So, my question to you: what do you think? Do you think, based on the information,
I think she's lying. I am
Why?
a major.
Why?
Listen, let me just
Tell
say this to you. I want to say this for the record. Mm-hmm. I have daughters. I have niece. Right. I'm very protective of women. Right, and I don't believe that anybody should sexually assault anyone, touch anyone, do anything. Time to stop her from coming. It didn't take the second time to stop her from coming, and it didn't take the third, and then it took the third time, and now all of a sudden she sues. No, I don't buy it.
So, do you believe?
I do not buy it.
So, do you believe?
Now I know he's a nut. He's all of that. He's probably crazy. But once somebody does something one time to you that's inappropriate, it is your responsibility to protect yourself from that person.
Your responsibility and what you do as a woman are two different things. Because so you may know that somebody has done something to you to wrong you, and then they can come back and apologize because you know you men are good. Y'all do something, then you come back and you apologize, and when we say okay, we'll ignore it, we'll go along, and then there's a second incident that happens. And then there may not be an apology. And then you start playing it over in your head. Like, is it me? Is it him? And he may say something to you to make you feel as though, okay, you know, it's not that big of a deal, blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry. I apologize if I came on too strong or whatever. And then there's a third occasion. So can it not be true that maybe there's something that could have possibly happened? It starts off with her saying that he did all of these things to me. And then one of his first responses to her is, well, we had consensual sex. But she never said there was a relationship. But he said we can have consensual sex. So at what point did you think it was consensual? And what point did she think it was not consensual? And what could have been that it was just rough sex? Because some people like rough sex.
Oh, really?
Choke me out until I pass out. I don't know. I don't know no people like that. But it could be possible.
Diane, listen, can I tell you something?
Some people role play.
Can I say something? I still say this. Those guys with that kind of money, they need to all be put in a class, like really taught how to handle these situations. A lot of them aren't bright.
They are not.
What the hell is wrong with you? Why can't I say they're not bright?
Because it's not true. It is a situation where you have men that have come from certain degrees financially in their lives, whether it's poor, middle class, or whatever, because they're not rich. None of them when they start off. Very, very few, very small percentage, and that's only if their fathers were in the game before them, that come into money, that comes with it, and all the other stuff that comes along with the responsibility of a status, of being recognized.
They can run with the football. Look, I play football. I understand it. Some of them just aren't bright. They're just good athletes, and they make bad decisions. I think that they need to be in training all year long. There needs to be a session within each one of those teams that teach these guys on how to manage these situations.
But not only that, I think that in this situation, especially with this, but with this culture that this Me Too culture has turned into something where people are attacking men and have like a rape culture in the corporate world. What is a rape culture? Because I said you look nice today, or you smell good, or have a great day, or something like that. That's a rape culture. It's now rape.
I don't know.
You know what I'm saying?
I think that we're on a slippery slope with this. I think, in particular, men that are around a lot of women, and men that work with women or entertain with women need to be very careful. Because I can go out to dinner right now, at this moment, have a meeting with them, sit there one-on-one and have a conversation with them, and then they could go out and say, I said something, inappropriate to them, which is a lie. It's just I'm not that kind of person. Things or that's a wonderful dress. I mean, that's how I was raised. I can compliment a woman like that, but I shouldn't feel like if I say something that's positive to who you are, you might want to use that against me. So I'm back to the contracts. Look, if you're a single guy, if you're a married guy, and you have to go out with women or do things as it relates to your business, I think you need to protect yourself, because some of these girls are cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs now. They get all crazy in the head. Does he like me? Well, I'm married. How the hell can I like you? I mean, get with the program. That's not supposed to happen. So you got a lot of girls that are... And I'm getting ready to
some
start...
men that's sick out there, too.
I'm not saying that, but I already qualified that. I already told you these guys have a problem.
So now we have another situation where it appears to be people always targeting black men with money to stop them or to bring them down.
And these girls, some of these girls, they don't know any better. They'll sleep with a dead dog for money. If a man took them out for...
Now you got to prove yourself.
Thank you. So say, I'll drag you into the ground. I'll deny. I will not only deny, but I will freaking try to destroy every part of your life by doing that to me, because I don't deserve.
So now then there's the situation where you have women that have now filed lawsuits against these men, and they have not gone to criminal court because they haven't filed police reports or whatever, because in the criminal court they have to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt that you are guilty, but then they take them to have that preponderance of evidence, and then they're able to sue them financially. I think there has to be some break or middle ground in the system where they can't come after you after your money unless they can prove criminally that you did something, because otherwise you got this man on the hook, and then if he settles and he pays you, you're quiet. But as soon as he stops paying, then now all of a sudden there's an issue, because now you can go back and look at Cosby.
Oh, yeah,
you can look at Bill Cosby. Hey man, and now she's coming after
that young lady. That young lady was terrible. Whatever happened between them, the mother and her, you got to remember the story. It goes way back. The mother and her, they cut the deal with Bill Cosby.
Right.
Sends her to college, the whole bit. So that had been going on for years. Bill Cosby did not go to prison, right, for what he did to those, supposedly done to those women. He went to prison because of her. Now, I don't know how that happened. How does he go? She's been taking that money. He sent her to school, the whole bit. So then she tries to make like she's this martyr, and all of a sudden now she's gay. And I mean, what the hell is wrong? The girl's sick.
So going back again.
Now, don't take the money. What she should have done is not take the money, file charges against him, put his butt in jail. But she took the money.
Well, so, that's what I'm saying. If you go to civil court, then you can go after the money if you can prove it with less evidence. But if you go after them criminally, you can still sue him for the money, but then he's actually convicted, and you have to really...
I think what happens is these guys have to spend so much money and image. They need to stop thinking with their penis. They need to stay focused, because guess what? It's hard to go to court when you're in there and you have women on the jury.
Public opinion.
And they're looking at me like they already think black men can jump over the moon. O.J. Simpson. We just run it. We got we're the greatest athletes of all. We got superpowers, right? So come on, you got to be careful. I think young men need to caught up in the times we live in. They can't go around conducting themselves that way and expecting different results. They just can't do it.
But then you go back to the case with R. Kelly.
Tina Thomas said, "I'm Kevin. You're so harsh." I know
he is harsh.
No,
it's hard to deal with him, Tina.
I don't know what to do with him sometimes. Contracts
is not going to stop you from that. So, but anyway, I appreciate your opinion, but here we go. So in Boston, the Boston Public Schools this year decided that they were going to partners, and the kindergartners, because my daughter says I say kindergartner, what is just kindy is not a word. Yeah. Kindergartners, by giving them $50 to promote savings towards their college and or career. Was a bank that was connected with our school. We were able to start our bank accounts.
First Fidelity was ours.
Ours was New Jersey.
Or was it the Howard Savings Bank?
I don't remember what the name of it is. But they would come to the school. We'd have our own passports. We'd give them the book, and they would deposit it into the account. Because I remember in 8th grade, I couldn't take it out without saves, because the mayor started off just in certain areas. And it provides the family with resources and strengthening the investment that we're making for our Boston youth. And I think that's a good way to help educate them.
Well,
Savings.
listen, every kindergartner enrolled in Boston Public Schools will receive a savings account with $50 in it to help pay for college or career training. The city announced Monday the program called Boston Saves is an expansion. It gets kids comfortable with money, or give kids the ability to build, help them develop in a financial way, financial literacy. I think it's important. I think the whole process is just great. So kudos to them.
So they say that the money can be used for college or career training. Neither the student nor the family can access the money until the student enters college or career training. And the school division's website says that the student must use the money before they turn 27, or the money will go back into the city of Boston.
I think it's a great thing. I mean, listen, you have a lot of kids that are hungry, that go to school every day. Some of them are living in homeless shelters, and some of them don't get that opportunity, or some of their families, because of the racial wealth gap, are trapped into poverty for the rest of their lives. So I like it. How Boston Saves works. Boston Saves, that's just popping up on my screen,
sorry.
because it's always a delay for me.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, though, I think it's a very positive. We shouldn't be encouraged by, but there's so many different issues for families, though.
Yeah.
Well, are there any black people that live in Boston anymore?
There's a ton of people leaving
That's
Boston.
not true.
It is.
Well, I read a study that, seriously.
Come back with your study.
Okay, I'm going to come back with my study.
So Massachusetts as a state is launching a statewide program to help families start saving for post-high school education and training. They call that Baby Step Savings Plan, which will begin in January, and it will make every baby born or adopted in the state eligible for a $50 deposit into a U.S. Fund 529 college savings account.
Okay, fine, but let me ask you, in these states should be for free.
They should be.
I mean, I can appreciate.
But while they're not free, we should be planning.
Well, I mean, those kids go to college.
Does not matter. By
the time those kids go to college, okay, so let's just say this. Just our kids, both for our children. That was from these kids get out of high school, or get out of grammar school to high school.
What you know about high school?
I'm saying when they go to college. So if they
can
can save $50 a month, it's still not going to cover anything.
Still
and
not. So do something or do nothing. What do you want?
No, I'm saying
do something or do nothing. What do you want? You only get one side, Kevin.
Look,
do something or do nothing. Because you talk about the welfare gap, the
racial welfare.
I'm
saying
gap.
to you is
do something or do not. Pick a side.
I'm not doing that. I'm not picking a side.
Yes, you will.
I'm not
pick a side.
I'm not
pick a side.
No, I'm not. I'm saying to you, listen. Think about what I'm saying. You say you're saving money to go to college, right? Yeah. I mean, I like the financial literacy part. I like the $50 part. I like that fact that they're engaged. The thing is, let's address the real issue. Those kids should be able to go to college for free.
That is correct. Okay. However, until it is free, you should plan for the future. You don't say, I'm not going to plan because it should be this way.
What I'm saying is Boston should be engaged in making sure that those kids those kids that don't have those families that can afford their education, they should be going to college for free.
So this is another incentive for people. And you don't have to let the state do it or the city do it. You can do it yourself. My mother would have pulled out of her account every paycheck $100 to buy a CD. Her entire time, from the time my daughter was probably 6 or 7, and my nephew was 2 years younger, so 4 or 6. So all of that's helping close the racial welfare gap, because those two kids right there, nephew and daughter, have an opportunity to take that money and then invest in something else, which will bring back higher returns, whether it's their education. It's not going to be a car, because that's out, not stuff that loses value.
Well, listen, that doesn't close the racial wealth gap, but I got to tell you,
those two people it does.
It does not. For those two, that does not close the racial wealth gap. It does
everybody,
not. That is a personal. That is a personal decision. It does not. That's not. I mean, I got to have another. Do I have to do another show?
Everybody in the family. Everybody in the family got to be poor.
Can we
lift up 2 at a time?
I'm not saying that to you. I'm not saying that to you. What I'm suggesting to you is those personal.
You got way too much sleep. You're like off the hook.
Diane, those personal decisions that we make are very good.
But the personal decision
gap is a symptom of a number of policies that trap us into poverty.
I understand that.
Jesus
but just should every individual be trapped, or should every individual try to do something better to help everybody?
I think they should.
Because the education that these two kids get on savings and the value of people. They're not going to keep holding information. They will pass that information on to other people. My mother didn't just get that information by herself. She got it from her parents. She got it from people that she worked with. So she passed the information on to me and to other people. That's how you can close the gap. It's not just the systems, which I know it is, but it has to do with personal.
Right. Okay. So I get your point. I'm not opposed to what you're saying, but it does not close the racial wealth gap. Move on, please, because you're killing me here. I've had this conversation, but for almost a damn 2 years now.
Okay. So now
Those are good things, Diane. But Jesus, go ahead. Somebody close the racial wealth gap.
So you got to do something.
$100 CD.
Look, in our house it is.
I know, right? I got it.
And keep me from having to write a check for you to help you out with your life.
I got it. You're right.
So it's closing our family gap. That's what it is. Our family wealth.
I got it.
So I know you guys talked about a couple of days ago, last week, and maybe a little bit in regards to the NRA. And San Francisco was suing the NRA and calling them a domestic terrorist organization and stating in the community with firearms and stuff like that they should be stopped.
Yeah.
So the NRA has now responded to them and told them that it was actually an assault on advocacy organizations across the state, and that they are protected by the First Amendment, and that they are actually suing San Francisco as well as the 11 city supervisors, both individually. The people, when you sue people in government, you got to sue them as an individual and as in their official capacity.
That's
Otherwise, there's a loophole between the two, calling them a terrorist designation, a frivolous insult.
Well, listen, I don't think that they should be called a terrorist organization.
Okay.
I don't believe that. I don't
Why
believe
not?
that. I just don't. The NRA is a group of people that contribute, like if you would contribute to anything else. The court for the Northern District of California accuses city officials of violating the guns lobby free speech rights for political reasons, and says the city is seeking to blacklist anyone associated with the punished. I don't think they should be called a terrorist group.
So San Francisco,
I don't believe that.
You don't think so?
No.
So San Francisco states that they have AK style long gun, killing 3 people and wounding 17 people, killing himself. And since there was at least 3 mass shootings in El Paso, Texas, Dayton, Ohio, and in West Texas, towns of Odessa and Midland. The supervisor, Catherine Stephanie of San Francisco, stated that she drafted the report by the vision of one of those killed while playing in a bouncy house at a festival. Stephanie, who is the attorney for the San Francisco city, says that they have been involved for years in gun control organizations and said and thought it sickens her, and I had enough. And she continues to say that she needs to stand in the way of gun violence reform, and people are dying because of it. I don't think this resolution is actually attacking the issue. I think the bigger issue is not be available for civilians. Period.
I agree.
They're manufacturers.
Listen,
because that's more important.
They're doing it against the opioid industry, right? They're going after that, right? They're going.
But
after
the NRA only
gun enthusiasts.
Yeah.
Not everybody that has a gun is a bad person. No. And I think that the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, they're responsible for this. They need to pass reasonable gun laws, just like they're doing in New Jersey. We have some of the toughest gun laws in the country. And I think that I think each state should do it. I understand different states have different reasons. Like if you're in the South, I understand there are, but I got to tell you, we need some stricter laws. That's it. I mean, at the end of the day, both parties need to do that. Right. You don't need to have assault weapons to go hunting.
So another thing they're stating is the NRA leadership, which with their group, then press president, who was Oliver North, and is a top lobbyist, are stepping down, giving gun rights activists pause about the NRA's ability to hold sway in the upcoming 2020
NRA,
election.
I mean, lobbyists that control the NRA is the problem. They're the problem.
The lobbyists.
They're the big issue. There's a few hedge fund managers of the NRA that's just, screwing it up for everybody. I think you having a gun doesn't make you important, but you have to understand that there's the NRA people that support the NRA, that contribute to the NRA, some people probably, but the lobby group itself, the NRA, the inner workings of they're horrible.
So I also heard that with lobbyists that they would they wanted it to on getting bills and laws written and passed, that they don't want them to be affiliated with lobbyists so that they can continue to support whatever the
for years. That's not going to happen. I'm not going to allow you, if I'm an elected official and after I finish being an elected official, I mean, nobody's going to, I don't think you should be passing laws to stop them from,
Employment.
employ and not say who gave you the money.
But okay, so in New Jersey, I know they have the New Jersey Election Commission. Do they not have that in other states where you have to
you have
financial
that.
disclosure?
You do, but I'm just saying,
to
but
say where
dark
the
money is
come from?
different. When the Supreme Court said you as an individual now can,
So basically, and that's some of the problems they had in New Jersey. So employers would go to the employees and say, you got to end up as an organization giving $100,000, but they don't know individually who gave the $100,000. Is that what you're saying?
Well, no,
Once they put it together?
here it is. Here's a nutshell. If I make a contribution to you, if it's 20,000, 50,000, 500,000, whatever, right? I should be, as an elected official, I should be able, or a group, I should be able to see who contributed to you. So
And
the
how-
back.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Okay, so got you.
So
All right.
to keep it real simple, a dark money is the money that you don't see me giving this candidate.
And a PAC is a politically
So
a PAC is set up so you can raise
Your
group
campaign
directly.
cannot coordinate with me, but I could raise money in that 501c4
And then donate towards your campaign.
but you don't have to see who's giving me that money.
Gotcha.
So now,
So
if
it's
you-
another way to funnel money without being seen.
Well,
Gotcha.
but I think the problem with our political process now, the way it's now, I think it's the dirty money, the dark money and dirty money is causing us problems.
So why is it important that people know who contributes to campaigns?
I think it all should be transparent.
But why?
Well, if you're a public servant and you're running for office and you are a public servant that's in charge of our government, everything should be open.
Okay,
I believe
transparency.
everything should be open.
Okay, so
And guess what? That is never going to happen either. But
that vein, Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar, Klobuchar, for example, has received donations from 5 S&P 500 CEOs, more than any of her rivals. 4 of them are leaders of companies with headquarters in Minnesota. While she is receiving this among to qualify, of course, for this Thursday, which is tomorrow's presidential debate, she is lagging in polls. So did she get Buttigieg? Pete Buttigieg is receiving money from Netflix, Nielsen. So Nielsen, is the Nielsen
rating company.
And Simon is the real estate people that owns many of they're in real estate, but they own a lot of the mall kind of like that. We have Amy, of course, who is Gilbert.
Yeah.
Is receiving money from Best Buy, from Hills Echo Lab. We have your favorite Cory Booker, who is receiving money from PayPal.
He's getting money from God.
Salesforce.
Salesforce, right? Well, here's the deal. I think all of them should be raising money to be competitive politically, and that's what the rules say. You have to have money to be competitive. So that's fine. I have nothing against that. Now, the ones I have something against is the ones that lie to you.
Lie to you about where the money is coming from?
No, this is what they do. Oh, we're not going to take money from Wall Street, but you're raising money on
So
Wall
who
Street.
said that they wouldn't take money?
Majority
from Wall
of them said they weren't going to take money, but now
you-
a lot of them are. Biden never said that because Biden all along was going to take money from everybody.
Right. So
so
Kamala's getting it from Salesforce.
So their money around. Everybody gets a check. Their political
Everybody's
action.
putting their money in to see which horse wins the race.
Listen,
and they
one
spread
thing-
their money around.
One thing
I've
for
learned
certain,
that.
rich people don't lose. They always win.
And even on local
The super rich never lose. They always win.
even on local races, I know from past experiences, the chairpersons of political parties will give the candidate that they want to win that's on their line running with them that they're pushing, but they'll also give a smaller check to somebody else just in case they win. They can always say, well, I gave you some money.
I've raised a considerable amount of money over the years, and you know what? It is what it is. If you're in a political process in this country, basically it's all corrupt anyway. You're going to need money to be competitive. Everybody lies during the election, so you got to pay for it. You even got to pay.
Everybody- I didn't lie.
No, not you. I'm not saying you personally as a candidate, but everybody. Listen, you go, you get money to be competitive. That's it. Now, if everybody wants to change the rules, change the rules. But the deal is, I think one of the things we need to do is access to money, tax money, to be able to run and get involved in politics. Because right now, the
be
normal guy
competitive.
is locked out.
It's not locked out because you have PACs where they could get $5, $10, $20.
You still are locked out.
Part of the system.
If you're a young person that wants to run for office, I'm not giving you a damn dollar out of my PAC.
Why?
Because I think the PAC was not
But
good for you.
But if the PAC, if they created their own PAC, a young people's PAC, that PAC would raise.
You get this stuff from young people's PAC. You're so damn motherly sometimes. Come on, go ahead with
You're
the show.
such an old.
the young people
I
PAC.
can't
What the
with
hell
you.
is a young people PAC? You know what? I'll give you an example. You see the money that Bernie Sanders is raising?
No, how much?
Listen, this guy's probably raised $30 million already with small donations.
Right.
So I like the small donations.
Well, that's
But what I'm saying to you,
you,
that means that young people then need
Are
to create
involved.
that. But you had the Black Lives Matter, you had all of these other
well,
organizations.
Black Lives
that,
Matter was they
But I'm
should
sa-
have been raising money.
But they did. I mean, because
to support a candidate, but
you
you
gotta-
know they're a little leery too.
I'm
you
only
know.
just using them
But
as
go
an
ahead,
example.
go.
But
Yeah.
there's opportunities for people to raise money and
Right.
be involved in,
in the
be
political
involved in the
process.
political
Yeah.
process. But at the end of the day, you need money. So you go get the money where you can get the money to be competitive. Now, until they change the system,
I consider to be competitive.
Oh, she's
and
very
raising the
competitive.
money.
small donors too.
Small donors, but there are some doubts among some Democratic voters from this particular article, not me, that whether a woman can win in the White Sanders. Some people still feel as though that a woman is not ready to be president. However, in other countries, they have had many female leaders run their countries. What are your thoughts?
You know how I feel? I feel that women are more capable than men. I think women leaders are much more capable than men, than a man running against President Donald Trump next year. Now, who's saying that? Not men, but women are saying that.
But why?
Women for another black woman than you ever could imagine. So it's all bullcrap. So women have a problem with her. And in particular, white women have a problem with her. For reasons, but in particular, women just have that kind of problem. They do. I see it all the time.
Well, a 55...
Hold on for a second.
Got-
Caller, you on the air.
Good morning, guys.
Mike now, so this is kind of cool. I forgot to introduce the new Mike to the table. Go ahead, Jody.
So, Diane, I'm so angry about the Elizabeth Warren thing because even though she's leading everyone, right? When they put them, and they put Buttigieg, and he even beat Donald Trump. So she's leading at all Democrats against Donald Trump, she would lose. But this morning on the news, they refused to say she's losing because she's a woman. That even they did further analysis of that poll. She loses because women won't vote for a woman. Isn't that scary?
I don't know.
Not only the stay-at-home mom, but the professional, educated woman, white woman, will not vote for a woman, and will actually, those who Trump before they voted her in. I think that's kind of scary in 2019. I think, like Kevin said, I think women would do better, honestly. I think that the nation needs that now, but because we women are afraid to put a woman in office, she will lose.
Well,
She will lose.
I think, Jody, it's time for us to change the conversation and for us to stop looking at male and female and start looking at who's going to be, because this Democratic debate would choose who the best candidate is, regardless of whether they're male, female, black, white, Puerto Rican, or whatever. Donald Trump.
Our people, as you know, as black folks, he can make a mess, but they will push him because, and Kevin, I'm going to agree with you, although we've disagreed on this so many times, they are making this about who can beat Trump, right? So they will push Biden further than they will push her. They will actually, even though she is the most progressive, let's say, for the people as a people, right? They will push him just because they will say that she will get stuck with this guy that I don't believe should be the Democratic candidate, Joe Biden.
Ladies and gentlemen that are on the stage seem to be competent in something. But I got to tell you, Elizabeth Warren is a very unique candidate. I mean, she's a policy wonk. She's really tough. She fights for what she believes in. Okay, I get all of that. But the fact of the matter is, women don't vote for women.
And that's why we're going to change the conversation.
Absolutely.
So stop saying
They don't
that,
vote for
Kevin.
women.
We will vote for
Then
women.
we're not.
We
We
will
won't.
vote for the most qualified.
No.
candidate. And what's going to
you want to vote for a
happen?
woman or not?
Yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
so-
I'm voting for Elizabeth Warren.
Jesus, Mary.
You and I will.
I'm voting for Elizabeth Warren. My daughter's voting for Elizabeth Warren. My son is voting for her. My husband voting. It's a done deal in our household. That's who we voting for in the primaries. Now, if under some miraculous stroke of luck, she gets on to the next, become the Democratic candidate, they will put the money behind her because the Democrats want to win. Case closed. It's the same situation as with Stacey Abrams when she was running in Georgia. They did not want her to have that seat. She pushed forward. She got the support, and then they had to take her on to the candidate. It is what it is.
Well, I got to tell you something. I don't know what's the glitching that we're having. It's a glitching all over.
Dan, I love your
Something's glitching with her too.
Ain't nothing glitching with me.
I don't know why technology is glitching.
If you got a problem with Facebook,
changes the spectrum. I hope they're all listening like they always do to the Eric Dawson show. I hope it changes the spectrum, but I am nervous.
don't be nervous. Change the words, Jody. Change the words that you use. My daughter taught me this when I was working, volunteering with them last week at her school. Words have power. Change the words that you use.
Yes,
We will vote for
do.
her because she is the most qualified candidate between her and Sanders. Even though Sanders looked like he about to fall over, drop over, and die, I'm still, as a team, the two of them together, they got this. So
I'm not voting for any of them.
But
Nobody.
guess what? Another part that we have to be nervous about is that just like Hillary, listen, no one in the United States of America has ever been more qualified to run.
However,
when it came to us walking to the polls, some folks will just stay home.
Okay,
right?
so Leslie Ann had a lot of crap going on with her. And let's start with just the crap of staying with her husband that was getting ahead at the White House. She should have left his ass then. But she kept up with that because you know why? Her goals was somewhere else. She pushed him from the governor's office all the way into the presidency. That's her fault. Her failure is her fault and her crap that she brought along with her. So the comparison of Hillary Clinton and Elizabeth Warren, we will not do. We're going to stop that conversation because Elizabeth Warren has a much chance as any white male man to get States of America.
What the hell is a white male man?
Yeah.
What the hell is a white male?
You know what that is? A white male man is a colonist. He is a colonist, and she has every right to get that position, even if she only got 0.5% of American Indian in her or worked for it.
Okay, well, you know what, though? I'm not stepping up.
Emotional, yes, we are, but we also have empathy,
But
and we
that's
have
all I'm being.
compassion. People with compassion, empathy, people that know the laws, not dum-dums that we got up there now, that understand what relationships are with other countries. We need that. What we have now is not working for anybody. Not the poor white man, not the rich white colonist. It's not working. Because people, then you have white people at some point, we're going to storm the house and we're going to take everything. And we all going to be out here with nothing.
Well, you know what? All I can say to you is this.
What?
I believe
Kevin?
that women are much better leaders than
We
men.
are queens.
I
We
really-
want everything.
I've seen a lot of women in action
Behind
those kinds of assumptions, and I respect them. I've seen a lot of great women do some good quality work, so I'm cool with that. But you said
cool
something
with
about
that.
Hillary
You know
Clinton
what? I'm
that I just
a-
didn't agree with.
Well, you
But-
voted for Hillary Clinton, and you was a Hillary Clinton. Yeah, Hillary. She was a Hillary, all right. You are a Hillary Clinton fan. Where you sign at? I know you got it around here somewhere. Hillary. Did you pump that hard for Obama? Did you push that hard for
to
him?
tell you the truth, though, I think Hillary Clinton made a couple of technical mistakes in her campaign, and we can get into that.
Benghazi, could that have been an issue? I mean, if we're going to put this stuff on the table, let's be honest about the mistakes that people have made.
Well, okay, so fine. I don't know why we having these glitches. I just can't figure it out.
Well,
But
if they
it's cool,
have
though.
problems, just jump your ass over to YouTube.
So
because we
now,
find no video.
so here's the deal. So we both agree that women are I think really
Are great leaders.
quality, great leaders. I agree with that. So I'm not going to argue with anything you just said.
Good, because you don't have no more energy for it, right?
No,
I done
I
sucked
thought
the
it was,
energy
no,
out.
I thought actually, because I've known you. You've been an elected official. You've worked in government for many, many years. You come to the table with a vast knowledge of how government is supposed to effectively be run, and I respect that. So when you say those things, I know you're talking about it from experience.
So,
I'm comfortable
while
with
we
that.
still have 45 in the office, there's some issues and some warnings that some of the officials are trying to talk about in regards to mortgage financing. So, they've been talking about a bubble that's about to happen again, that is possibly going to pop, and there will be some type of recession again in regards to what's happening. And Fannie Mae and Fannie Mac are having some issues, and what they're saying, the U.S. housing finance system is worse off today than it was at the cusp of the 2008 financial crisis, and even Republican lawmakers are warning the Trump administration there is concern and that we need to take heed to what's going on. Senator John Kennedy of Louisiana states that the whole thing is a car wreck. It's like a dumpster fire. He said when he spoke at the Senate Banking Committee hearing on the White House proposal to overhaul a way of the nation's financing mortgages.
Yeah. Well, Fannie Mae and Fannie Mac has been a problem, but I don't think Fannie Mac and Freddie Mac should be dismantled at all. And I think it should stay part of the inner workings of our government. And I think that it's always been a problem with both of those entities. But I just think when we just had the crash in 2009, 2008, I mean, they've actually repaired, to me, they've repaired their image in a big way. That, I mean, people are getting a lot of, mortgages for their homes, and it's backed by the government. I don't think that right now that's a priority at this present moment.
Well, what they're saying is the Treasury blueprint would overhaul all of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, and that a major component of the plan is building the company's capital so they would be able to withstand an economic downturn without turning to taxpayers again.
Yeah, so if Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, the two government-controlled enterprises that stand behind half of the country mortgages, are way too undercapitalized, and lending standards have actually deteriorated since the housing crash, officials say. Well, let me just tell you what's getting ready to happen. All no-doc loans are coming back into the marketplace. And you know why? Because people are not buying.
No-doc loans are loans that people got without proven documentation.
And they're back. They're actually
financial.
Let me just say. So no-doc loans are back in the marketplace, right? So people, because you have to. What's happening is when the market crash happened, you lost, like, just say you lost 500 million jobs. Underwriters, mortgage, real estate. I mean, just wiped out, right? So now, if the industry gets back on track, you're going to have more houses being built. You're going to have more mortgage companies, more underwriters, more everybody. It'll create jobs. But what they're saying is about Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. If another crisis happened, they're going to be completely wiped out because they're under capitalized right now. So that's the part of it. But I got to tell you, I'm watching what Goldman Sachs is doing. I'm watching one of the large. It says underwriting standards at Fannie and Freddie Mac gotten worse, not better, which is underwriting. It's probably true. Calabria said, pointing to a massive expansion of loans with high debt-to-income ratios in recent years. So, again, no doubt. They never left. They just repurposed themselves, right? Because Wall Street's, look, Wall Street, so what happened after the market crash? Do you know that majority of those firms went out and bought all of that distressed real estate?
They are trying to, voter rights groups are fighting the state of Ohio because they're trying to remove 200,000 people off the voter rolls. And that's a big election fraud thing that they do everywhere, even on a local level. You always find out you get there on the day to vote and your name is not in the book, or you have to show ID, or you have to do a paper ballot because you can't vote in the machine. Cancel out the registrations by this Friday, even though the voters on the list were found, they claim, had mistakes. The Ohio Secretary of State, Frank LaRose, who's a Republican, published a list of two in August, but soon discovered that there were errors and corrected them. The following month in August, voter rights groups said that they identified an additional 4,000 people who were incorrectly added to the list, which is also another thing with voter fraud, just adding people. My thing is when it comes to voting, everybody should be able to vote. And we talked about this before about there are a couple of states that allow prisoners to be able to vote. I thought that was important, and then we had a guest that called in and said that they didn't think that was a good thing for prisoners to be, because they're under undue stress and circumstances being in prison, and that their wardens who are elected by elected people, that are appointed by elected people, could have undue influence.
It stands. It says here, Ohio Secretary of State Frank LaRose, Republican, published a list incorrectly added to the list. The Columbus Dispatch also reported more than 1,600 people who were erroneously added because of a technical error.
So the voting rights groups are in the process of removing people from the voter rolls what they call supplemental process in Ohio is putting eligible voters at risk and having their voter registrations canceled. But again, I think there needs to be something put in place in regards to voting, registered or not. If you come, if you are not registered, then you should be able to come with valid ID. They should be able to enter your information into the electronic system like everybody else, and you should be able to vote as everybody else does, and not on a paper ballot. Because I know from experience, paper ballots have disappeared or been thrown out.
Right. Well, I think everybody should be allowed to vote. I actually agree with you on that. But I still have a little question about how they're going to do it while they're in prison.
Well, how they would vote, they would bring in a machine and they would vote.
I know, but
the
it's
thing
a little,
about that information. Now,
Yeah,
my
it's a little-
concern is the same thing that
I think that if they're out of prison, they should be allowed to vote. I think while they're in prison, I got to tell you, I have some concerns about that.
And I think with them being in prison and voting could set up this in the city of Newark when you talk about candidates being able to address the constituents when they were blocked from coming into senior housing units and not being able to speak to people as groups, while some people were able to be allowed it. And I think the same thing as prisons, because they are state or county or government run, distributing literature to them, from getting information to them and allowing them to be able to make an informed decision on who to vote for.
Well, listen, I mean, even
because it's a controlled system.
Listen, I think yesterday we talked about this. I believe in paper. I believe in you should be able to go electronically vote, but get a paper ballot,
receipt,
a paper receipt. I believe that.
Right.
I think until that's done, they're going to continue to keep stealing elections.
So the Ohio Democratic Party cited that the errors last week in a lawsuit asking a federal judge to halt the scheduled purge.
We got a call on.
Go ahead,
caller.
Yeah, I'm calling in because I'm trying to understand what's the justification for allowing prisoners to be able to vote while they're in prison. I really don't understand that logic, and can you guys flesh that out a little bit more for me?
Sure.
Thank you.
Sure, thank you. Well, I don't, well, let's put it this way, and I can't remember the particular state, but I want to say Michigan is the state where they allow prisoners to vote. And the reason why they pushed it, and I think it's important for everybody to be able to vote, is because the people that oversee the prison responsibility and the control of the state or whoever the prison system is, but they have rights as human beings. So the point of voting is to have a voice. So humans have to be protected.
Yeah,
so I know you sent me an article in regards to our foundational black people, because they have the power, they have the...
But you have to do it in a certain way.
You can do it in any way you want. I'm just saying that's something that could be done.
Well, yeah, I think that on the women issue, I support the fact that women are anything to me that deals with my issue specifically about foundational black Americans, and option is not happening the right way. I think there's going to be a group of black Americans, foundational black Americans, that are not going to vote because they don't feel a part of this transcendent democracy that they keep being sold that's as an asset for them.
Right.
It's been an asset for everyone else, but the group that built the country
only say slavery happened. We don't say how it directly affected us. Say goodbye, Uncle Sam.
Yeah, Uncle Tom.
Goodbye, Uncle Tom, which everybody needs to watch, and tell me you'll have a totally new perspective on slavery element.
It's going
which doesn't
height. Connected to a major building or something, a bill, and it's not. And this issue was not about infrastructure.
Right.
Infrastructure.
Face pack on your mouth. Just lay your head down. Head feel like 100 pounds.
This dose of thought-provoking information, why not put it to good use? Spread the word.
But you know what, though? I got to tell you, though, even on this water thing and even on the reparations thing, there are also certain things that you don't have to have a lot of debate